Ah, ah, ah. Make America great again. Ah. You think what a fantastic slogan. But where did it come from? Where did it come from? See, I always meant to run for president. It must have been 2002. I would have been 35. Oh, 2004, 1998. Yeah. I said I was gonna run for president. Because before the election, at the time of the election, I would have only been 34. I had it all worked out. I want to shake things up. I was going to be the youngest president ever in history. People love setting records. They would vote for me. But by the time of the inauguration, I would be 35 because my birthday is a couple days from now. I had only considered running for that. Oh, it was 2006, 2007. I'd considered running for it to shake things up. The same way I voted for Ross Perot, one of the first and only time until that poor guy came around that I ever voted. The only time I ever voted to put the numbers on Ross Perot. I said, it's time to shake this system up. It's all because one election to the next, there was no difference going to be seen. They were all doing the same things. And as we think, they were all lying the same way. It needed to be shook up a bit. And so I voted for Ross Perot. He lost. I knew he would. But my numbers were there in the polls so that people could see that somebody was interested in changing things. And so then I thought, well, I will be the youngest president ever. That could shake things up. And, well, it's really kind of too bad that I don't know the job of the presidency. So who cares? I was still going to do it. But then I ended up back in China for close to a year, 10 months. I got back just in time to realize it was too late. I don't know what year that was, but these facts are real. I was like, it's too late for me to start a presidential campaign. So I backed out of my joke. And as it turns out, somebody else picked up on my joke. I mean, I came back here. I was able to speak Chinese. 我会说一点点中文，我会说一点点普通话。我是天才，他们告诉我，可是我总是相信我是笨蛋的，没关系。In Chinese, right there, I said, they tell me I'm a genius, but I told them I'm stupid. That's a short translation. And the thing is, the reason I learned how to say Woguda, I'm innocent, was because one of the people was teaching me how to say, Woguda, I'm innocent. And I said, no, I want to say, Wobuguda, Wobuguda. I laughed and laughed to say, I am not innocent, to hold my hands up. And then there was one time I stopped into a bar to have a beer, and there was a guy and a waitress. The guy was interested in the waitress, and the waitress seemed to like her. But the guys in the bar didn't like that she liked him. And all of a sudden, they attacked that guy, and they're beating him. There are 7 of them. I can take 4 of them, I'm sure, because they don't know how to fight. Everybody thinks they all know kung fu, but they punch like that, and they try to kick, and they just stamp. They're not stomping Private Pile's guts out. They're just stepping on somebody like a bitch, if that's the way you want to look at it. And that girl, the waitress, she went and she jumped on him to protect him, and they're kicking all around her. And I'm sitting there drinking my beer, and I'm looking at it. And I said, that poor girl, she doesn't need to get hurt. And so I went and I picked up the girl off the body of the man that they were beating, and I carried her, and she's like, ah, ah, ah. And I said, just sit here. I spoke Chinese. And then the police showed up later, and I'm standing outside on the street, on the sidewalk with my beer, because there are freedoms, personal freedoms, that we don't have here in America. As long as you're not causing problems, you can drink a beer on the street. No problem at all. But then the police showed up, and the owner of the bar, he was like, and he pointed at me. And, oh. And the cop looked at me. And I didn't hear what they said because they went so quickly. I'm not saying I'm sitting around talking like I'm speaking English to these people. I only know what I know. And the cop looked at me, and after joking about learning how to say I'm innocent or I'm not, I raised my hands and I said, Woguda, I'm innocent. And the cop said, hi. And he just started yelling at the bar owner again. I was like, wow, I learned this as a joke, but I'm able to get by. So imagine, I've had enough time. I get back from there. I don't have enough time to run for president, because what kind of terrible joke is that to throw on the fucking people? But I know when the Chinese show up, like everybody keeps threatening they're gonna, I'm gonna be able to say, well, good, well, sure need a lao pungyo. I'm innocent, I'm your old friend. And they'll say, ha, and they say, chingue wo pijo, and I'll buy him a beer. Please give me a beer. And I'll buy him a beer, and we'll be friends. You don't know. I'm the guy that could have saved this whole thing. And as the time passed, I realized, joke or not, the joke is too old to portray. And then that poor guy comes in. I love you, baby. That poor guy comes in, and he's talking about making America great again. What is he talking about when he's talking about making America great again? I think he's talking about the idea that I had of just shaking shit up, and he's just throwing this line out there. He missed his opportunity to, if he'd have been there instead of Obama, that was the time to make America great again. Once I realized Obama was running, I'm like, there's a black dude running for president. I said, that covers my fucking territory of shaking shit up. But that poor guy, Trump, he didn't do it in the time that he had. And he acts like there was, because there were problems when Obama had to come in because of fucking George W. Bush fucked up the economy and we went into a recession and there were no construction jobs left. Remember why I had to move to Kalamazoo? Because my construction job in Gaylord, the uterus fell out of it. So I had to go down south to get a job. And then Obama fixed it. But that was that Trump guy's opportunity to come in and say, we can make America great again and fix the problems. But he's not into fixing problems. Not only that, he's way behind schedule. He's just like me, except he's willing to fake it. I'm accepting, well, missed the opportunity to act like things were so terrible because things are pretty good again now. Somebody took care of the job, but he's living off the notion of how terrible things are. He should have been there then. Except if he had been then there, we would have never recovered from what was happening right there under the Bush administration. Kind of explains why Bush never came out to talk about Trump, doesn't it? Because he's the same fucking guy. Make America great again. You can't even come up with a new idea. You're taking old people's ideas and proving how easy it would have been for me, a guy that didn't have the qualifications but had the morality to understand that. Didn't have the qualifications to do the job and decided to do it anyway. Why? Evidently, I've got a little bit of my soul left in me. He doesn't.